Got Your Back Podstream is brought to you by Kinprint. For all your company's promotional needs, they do it all. Apparel, promotional products using the highest quality brands. They do logo design, signage, and printing. Kinprint will promote your brand with excellence. Visit kinprint.ca.
Bottom line is we were at a preseason level of work ethic and a preseason level of execution, all of us. And
you think? Holy smokes! What did we just watch? That was a good old-fashioned butt whooping. And on the lid lifter, no less. First game of the regular season. You sure you want preseason to be over? Apparently the Oilers wanted 9 preseason games. Wow. We're going to have fun breaking this one down tonight, folks. Jason Strudwick standing by. Welcome to Got Your Back, YEG. As always, brought to you by our title sponsors, Sherwood Buick GMC. And they are having a model year-end blowout Friday the 13th. You can join the crew at Sherwood Buick GMC for exclusive one-day-only offers and your chance to win tickets to the Heritage Classic game, the Oilers and the Flames. Mention that Got Your Back sent you, and you'll receive specialized pricing, and you'll also get 3 free ultimate detail packages on a new vehicle. So go see Phil and the crew in Sherwood Park or online at gmcpod.com. Coming to you from the Long Shot Studio here in Sherwood Park. All game days, happy hour specials all day long, $5 Long Shots lager. You would have needed about 15 of them to get through that mess. Locations in Sherwood Park. And on Stony Plain Road, we kept the people waiting, Strud, so we apologize for those waiting on the live stream, but we've got it fixed, and our fix is Struddy's on camera, but also on the telephone. Struddy, give us a 1-2-1-2. Can you hear me, pal?
1-2-1-2, checking in. What's up? What's going on?
Okay, that's going to have to do. Listen, sometimes you got to just roll with the technical issues. Boy, oh boy, man. Struddy, I don't know if you were ever part of something like that. We're going to get to breaking it all down here in just a minute, but that was just brutal. You know, so funny. You come into town, you get skating early, you get all ready to go, captain skates for a month, all this preseason stuff, and then just, we'll break it down, but tell me, what are those players feeling right now?
I feel sick. You're excited about your new season. You feel like you've done a lot of work to get ready. And then you come in there and drop that bomb, right? Yeah. That's a really tough feeling. It's that'll be a long flight home.
Hey, Steve, what do we got to do? Does he got to mute his? He got to mute his computer. I think we're getting him through his computer microphone too.
Yeah,
there,
you got it there.
I'm gonna turn him off there.
Yeah, give us a 1-2 there, Struddy. Sorry,
that's
folks.
Better. Check 1-2-1-2. That better? That's that better?
Yeah, I think that's a little bit better there, Strud. What are those players going to feel like sitting on that bus?
Yeah. So you have to get on. You have to walk off out of there, just getting spanked, and then you got to get home, fly home, a long flight. You're going to get home really late, and then the worst part is they don't play for a number of days. Right? You want to play. Darnell Nurse said it after. You want to play right away. Just go line it up and go again and play right away. It is a complete nightmare. So that is just it is for a team that has high aspirations. And I know you don't win the Stanley Cup in Game 1, but man. Is that ever a wake-up call after 60 minutes?
Just an absolute face punch. Let's get to the breakdown brought to you by Adrenaline Diesel. They specialize in heavy-duty truck and trailer repair, performance tuning, parts, and sales. They have 7 gigantic bays, and there's not much they can't figure out for you. Marty and his crew have extremely high standards. They will leave your truck in great shape, like it's right out of the factory. Check them out at adrenalinediesel.ca. We are live streaming tonight in our Ask Us Anything segment. We're going to get to lots of your comments. We've got a busy stream happening tonight. A lot of frustrated people. I see a lot of people wanting to blame me for Jack Campbell, which I'm sure we'll get into that. Far from the biggest issue on this night. But Struds, let's break this down where I think it needs to start, and that is work ethic. And Jay Woodcroft, as we heard in the Weiss Johnson soundbox, really made it crystal clear. His team did not work hard enough tonight. They didn't show up ready to battle the way you need to battle in the regular season, and they were flat out embarrassed. That is an embarrassing result. There is no other word that can describe that game tonight.
Going through preseason, I talked about, they got to kind of raise their game and you got to start pushing it a bit. And I'm not going to say I predicted this outcome, but there is a level of kind of just going and buzzing you need to have. And I'm not sure they really ever hit that level in the preseason. So, it's going to take a big step going into there. You think about Vancouver's situation. They've had some horrendous starts in recent years. They're a team that has a lot of question marks throughout their lineup about, can this guy do this? Can he do that? Are the D-men going to hold up? Can Demko play a whole season? Like all these different things are going on. A new captain, not to mention that. So they would have been jacked up and ready to play. And the Oilers were not ready to go from the get-go. It is a very tough lesson. One that is going to be, like I said, it's going to haunt them for a few days. But I don't remember a first game of the year starting like this in quite a while for really any team. It could be their worst game of the year in the first game.
In the first game, 91. I think they lost 9-2 against the Calgary Flames. Let's get to the Weiss Johnson soundbox. Here is the captain.
You get ready for the next one. That's what we're going to do. Obviously, I'd like to learn from some of the breakdowns and get ready for the next one.
What do you think led to the primary struggle in your own zone tonight?
Lots. Lots of things went wrong.
Yeah, Darnell Nurse didn't have a whole lot else to say. Here's his breakdown.
Simply just wasn't good enough throughout the full game. They brought higher level of compete. Were able to convert on their chances that they had. So just not good enough from us.
Definitely not good enough. So both of those guys, dancing around it a little bit. Here's Jay Woodcroft, very blunt about what we just talked about, Struds, and that was work ethic. Jay Woodcroft in the Weiss Johnson soundbox.
Bottom line is we were at a preseason level of work ethic and a preseason level of execution, all of us. And we got a lesson in regular season work ethic and regular season battle level. And we were not good enough tonight. To a man, every single one of us, not good enough.
Turnovers. Scoring chances off of turnovers. This according to Sport Logic. 11-1 for the Vancouver Canucks tonight at all strengths. Struds, to me, first of all, that speaks to the number of pucks that they were turning over. But it also speaks to battle level and work ethic when you get that many chances off of turning pucks over. The Oilers just did not handle the pressure well. And I mean, no better example than Evan Bouchard on that 2-0 goal. Skates into the corner and basically lets somebody else have the puck because he wasn't willing to dig in hard enough.
Yeah. I'm gonna hate. I can't believe I'm gonna use this clipping. I promised myself I never would, but I'm gonna say it. Or this saying, I think that the Oilers were guilty of reading their own press clippings before the season even started. And that's a hard one. That's a hard one to say. I haven't played a game yet, and that's what it looked like, right? I can only judge on what I'm seeing, on what I saw. But as a defenseman, what I saw on both ends of the ice were the Canucks were inside the Oilers. If it was in their end, they're between Thatcher Demko and the Oiler player. It was very hard for Oilers to get to the net. And on the other side, the Canucks, for the most part, were inside the Oilers defenseman next to Campbell or Skinner or whichever guy was in there at that time. And, that's a will. That's not a skill. That's a will to get in there and get inside there or to compete to keep that guy, that person away from the net. You talk about the Bouchard one there, and not to single him out because there was others, but he goes back and he kind of has control of the puck. And just gets pushed off the puck. And then it goes to another player. I think it was Giuseppe. And, Connor McDavid is a half step behind. So that player, no, it was TJ Miller or JT Miller. So JT Miller gets it. He passes it up now to, I believe, Boeser who taps it in. And everyone's just a half step behind, right? Nerf half step getting out to the shooter. Connor half step out to the passer. And Bouchard not ready for that, what was going to be an impact play. So that's it's just, for a group that had talked so much about being better in their own zone and paying attention to those details, they weren't paid attention to tonight. And that's a harsh wake-up call in game one.
Jeff Domer says, can Struddy lend Bouchard his spine for the season? Chaos never died, says Bouchard weak against the forecheck. Dude is way too soft. He's going to get slaughtered all year. This is what we're not going to do as hosts and an analyst on this podcast. We're not going to overreact and prognosticate this kind of thing as a regularity over the season. This is a one-off. This is still a very good team, and this is a one-off. So we're going to acknowledge that, but we're going to rip into them because it was just that bad. So people that are concerned that this is the way the season is going to go, that's just night one jitters. Struds and I aren't going to partake in that, but this was bad here tonight. Struds, let's get to the goaltending. They decide to go with Jack Campbell. I think it was the right decision based on the way he played in the preseason. I thought he won the job. Yes, he got pulled, but I don't think he got pulled because he let in bad goals. I think the game was getting out of hand. The coach was trying to change something up. Skinner, I don't think was much of a problem either. I don't think this was about the goaltenders not making saves when they needed to. Now, you can't let in that many goals. You got to find a way. But the goaltending to me is way down on the list of problems tonight. Now, is that just convenient talk from a guy who stuck his neck out on Campbell? Or do you agree with that as a guy who could pounce right now if you wanted to?
No, I'm not going to be that guy. You know, I would agree with your assessment. I believe that Campbell, you know, he was under pressure, and a lot of those goals were, you know, backdoor tap-ins or soft plays defensively. You know, I think it was the second or third goal. He just rips it far side shelf. Like, that was just a great shot. It's hard to evaluate goaltending when the team in front of them isn't competing. You know, for the most part, they were close to the right spots, but they weren't competing for those spots, as I outlined earlier. So, no, the goaltending for me, I honestly, for debate for next game, I'm probably starting Skinner. But honestly, you go either way. It's not even on my mind about that. There's so many other things that have to be cranked up in intensity and before you can really evaluate the goaltenders on a fair level.
Yeah, no question in my mind. You go with Stuart Skinner next game, right? This was Jack Campbell's start. Didn't go well. Wasn't necessarily his fault. Bounce back to the other guy. You give Skinner a chance. I think it needs to be, the standard needs to be play well and win, and you get to stay in. All things being equal as far as rest goes. I think that signifies a healthy competition between them. But yeah, I would get Stuart Skinner in there to start next game. We'll see what Jay Woodcroft ends up doing. I don't know, buddy, what else you want to chew on? Like, I know in Struddy's world, you're going to talk a little bit about the Nurse and Bouchard pairing. The penalty kill was a bit of a concern here, I think, on this night too, right? It's something that the Oilers want to improve. Wasn't great tonight. What the Canucks have 3 power play goals, I think, and just a night where, yeah, it was porous. They were taking bad penalties, and the penalty kill was porous.
It was a tough night on the PK. And, you know, now, you know, we'd heard Jay talk about wanting to improve the penalty kill and how, you know, well, there were some nights where it really hurt us. Well, this hurts you. You give up 3 goals on 6. It takes a while to get that down to where you want to be, you know, and so you can call it 50%, but 3 out of 6, you got to get quite a few kills before that comes down again. And there's no guarantee it is going to come down. But we saw different players in there. You know, we saw Brown, we saw Janmark, we saw Ryan, we saw Nuge, we saw Connor, we saw Leon. We saw a lot of different people kind of get their beak wet out there. Now, maybe that's a bit of a function of where they're at with the roster, having only 11 forwards. But I would like to see a little bit of continuity out there and try to have first 2, second 2. You know, I think first 2 should be Nuge and Connor, Brown, and then the second 2, probably Janmark, and then, yeah. And then I'm not sure who is it. Ryan? Is it? I mean, Connor and Leon. I'm not sure. But you know, it just not, you know, just a half step behind. Not always in the shooting lane. And one thing that is one of my pet peeves is sticks in the air. Right, sticks on the ground. How many? You know, I thought. Let's talk about the Canucks actually for a second. I thought they did a really good job on their PK. I thought that, you know, especially with Teddy Bluger out of the lineup and Carson Soucy, who were supposed to be 2 of their better defenders. In their own zone, they had their sticks on the ice, and there was, especially early, they were knocking down passes, right, or getting into the way of passes and making it difficult for the Oilers to set up at times. They still had some good looks, but it is a good power play in the start.
8 shots on goal for Brock Boeser, 4 goals. He's shooting 50% on the season here. Pretty good performance. Really impressive from Brock Boeser. And frankly, a lot of the Canucks. I thought that Pettersson looked really strong, powerful. I thought he made intelligent plays. Get this guy signed, because if this is any indication, he is not going to be a wallflower this season. This guy is going to back up everything that people think about him. Real solid night for him. He had 4 points, a goal and 3. Quinn Hughes with 3 assists. JT Miller, 3 assists. Boy, it was a great stats night for the Vancouver Canucks.
Well, let's just talk about that for a second, and I sort of jump over top of you.
No, go ahead.
The Canucks' best players were their best players, and they came out and played like it, right? Leon, I thought Leon quite often was going through the neutral zone and trying to do these long cross-ice passes through multiple Canuck players. Sometimes it would get there, but even if it would get there, that guy would be by himself, and he had nowhere to go. So the Canucks are pressing up and taking that player out of the play or taking the puck away. I didn't think Leon was great. I thought Connor came out. He had a great hit right away. I'm like, okay, here we go. This guy's going to set the tone. And he was okay. Nugent Hopkins, I didn't think he brought, he had his best game. Kane, I'm not sure he had his best game. Hyman didn't have his best game. So the Oilers' best players weren't to the level of the Canucks' best players, and those players feasted on the Oilers' top guys.
Going to go back to the Weiss Johnson soundbox here. We'll remind you until October 15th if you install a new garage heater and an air conditioner. So go both at the same time, and you'll get $800 off the total bill. So enjoy the luxury of air conditioning at this year's pricing and beat the rush on getting your garage heater installed. Visit Weiss-Johnson.com. Jingle.
Weiss Johnson, whoa.
So Connor McDavid wasn't thrilled after the game. He was asked about the Canucks rolling out their number one power play at 6-1. And he wasn't happy about that. He also expressed a bit of sort of befuddlement at them putting in their backup goalie late in the game. Now, we have since learned that Demko, I guess, was fighting something and wasn't feeling well, and that's when they made the switch. So McDavid didn't know that when he made his post-game comments. But I did pull the part of the clip here, Struds. It may be, I don't know, this is a little bit of motivation, as if an 8-1 ass-kicking isn't enough motivation for Saturday night. But listen to McDavid talking about the number one power play unit being on the ice at 6-1.
Yeah, anytime you roll out the first power play unit, not ideal, but not our situation we want to be in. And, obviously we don't like that.
I'm sure the Canucks didn't like the Oilers skill players, throwing cross checks at will and making undisciplined slashes and those sorts of things. I thought they were really undisciplined. And I know that the game was out of hand and they were frustrated. But so far, we have seen the Oilers struggle to rein their discipline in. And I know it was just preseason before, and it's one game where you're losing badly. But I don't like this tendency that we're seeing. And quite frankly, I kind of don't really blame the Canucks. It's like, if you're going to be wasting ones on us like that, and the Oilers were just wasting ones on them, just silly cross checks, just taking liberties with guys, roll the top unit out there all night long, as far as I'm concerned.
So let's look at who their head coach is, Rick Tocchet. This is not someone who's not familiar with the gamesmanship of the game. He knows very well what he was doing. That wasn't an oversight. I'd be blown away if he didn't know, it's 6-1, I'm putting my first power play unit out there. Adam Foote is also on the bench there. There was a lot of veteran NHL people have been around the league for a long time, and they knew what they were doing. Make no doubt. My eyebrows raised. I'm like, oh, really? They're putting that group out there. So they were sending a message. They're like, we don't care. That's what he's saying. We don't care. We're coming out and we're going to try to score on you. We're going to try to make you have a bad night, or make a bad night worse. So come and get us. And you want to come and run around? No problem. We'll keep putting our top unit out there trying to score on you. And if I'm the Oilers, I'm pissed off. I'm really, really pissed off about that. I'm pissed off with the way I played. Everything's pissing me off. And I cannot wait to play Saturday and show everybody that we're better. Because now you've given the Canucks a little life, right? They're like, holy geez, everyone's talking about the Oilers. Like, you don't think before the game, Rick Tocchet or someone, maybe one of the players mentioned, like, hey guys, they're like, whatever, the Oilers are one of the top 5 teams to win the Stanley Cup. Odds wise. No one's given us the chance to win the playoffs or to get the playoffs. So they came out and they send a message to the Oilers and, quite frankly, to the rest of the league. Now, it doesn't mean they're going to run the table and win the Stanley Cup, but they made a statement. And when you're a team that struggled early the last few years, a statement feels pretty good.
I think it has to do with the type of penalties that the Oilers had started taking too. I think it matters if they're, little rinky-dinky things that aren't a big deal, but the Oilers were frustrated in playing as such. They did throw out some third and fourth line players at 7-1, I believe, for that power play, I think. And that was even after a Leon Draisaitl slash. So they did back off a little bit later on in the game, but clearly got the Oilers' attention, making the decision they did at 6-1. They have some decisions to make about what comes next. And Dylan Holloway's status is going to factor into that. I didn't like that look at all. And after the game, Jay Woodcroft credited Dylan Holloway for putting his body on the line and blocking a shot. We saw Ryan Nugent-Hopkins do this earlier in his career, block a shot with a hand. It looked to me like he was looking at his hand as he was walking off the bench. We know he's had issues there before. Don't want to speculate. Jay Woodcroft said he didn't have an update, but he did not come back, and that didn't look good, Struds.
It's 7-1, I believe, at that time. And whether it's 6-1 or 8-1, doesn't really matter. To go and put yourself on the line at that moment, rookie mistake. You don't need to do that. You get in front with your body and you let the equipment stop it. So I went back and watched a few times. He placed his hand. So his hand was out there and it hit his open hand, I believe. So I'm guessing it's a left hand injury at some level. There's no need. There is no need for it. If it's game 7, you put anything you can out there to knock that puck down. But at that moment, I didn't like it at all. You get lined up and you let your chest protector, your shin pads, whatever, your pants make it. If it goes by you, who cares? And I actually disagree with what Jay said. Jay called it a real positive play that he was putting his body on the line. I disagree. Why are you putting your body on the line for that moment? Like it just doesn't. There's no reason for it. And now, again, guessing, but if there's something wrong, you didn't come back. Not many rookies don't come back if they're not injured, right? They're going to be like, I'll just keep me out for precautionary reasons. So that line was the best. That was the best line the Oilers had. Fogle, McLeod, Holloway. I thought they were doing a lot of good things. They had some chances. The ice seemed to tilt when they were out there. So bad play, like rookie mistake. You do not need to place your hand out to try to block a shot at that moment in this game, in game 1.
I like that line too. I thought the energy was good. Now there was some young moments for Dylan Holloway in the second period, and I was interested to see which way it was going to go. Came out and early in the second period had a shift where he wasn't great, kind of threw a couple of pucks away, just sort of meandered off the ice, and it wasn't a great look. Then hopped over the boards and took a penalty that ended up leading to the 4-0 goal. I wondered at that moment, that's going to be a frustrating sequence. Jay Woodcroft went back to them, and they remained energetic. I thought, there were a couple times where they put that line on the ice and they tilted the ice. And we talked before about the Oilers needing to have a line that has a bit of an identity, and we saw some early signs of that. That's as far as I'm going to take anything positive tonight. Like, I'm just going to shut it down right there because there doesn't need to be anything positive said about this night. Small little glimmer there. Take a dump on that because Holloway got hurt and we're not sure exactly how long he's going to be out for. So how do you recover from this? Struds, you've been in the league. You know what this feels like. We're going to pick your brain on what comes next. That's coming up in our takeaways segments. We're going to get to you. Lots of great comments coming in here on the stream. Schauger should try to get Radio Shack as a sponsor so they can get Strud some headphones. That coming in from Neil. Thank you, Neil. Lots more to come on the podcast. Very short break. And then we'll look forward. How do you push past this coming up?
Hey everyone, it's Kelly here from United Sport and Cycle. The wait is over. United's annual Hockey Day sale is finally here. Save 20% off on select CCM and Bauer skates. Save 35% off on all Bauer and CCM Pro Stock sticks. And save up to 25% off on select Bauer and CCM equipment. And for you goalies, save up to 20% off select Bauer, Warrior, and CCM goal gear. Trust the experts at your home of hockey for over 95 years. United Sport and Cycle.
Are you ready to elevate your moving experience? Trusted for over 100 years, Ferguson Moving and Storage are your partners in relocation, ensuring your journey is smooth and stress-free. And say goodbye to surprises with Ferguson's transparent flat rate pricing. Contact them now for a free moving quote and use a promo code Ferguson to receive $100 off your next move. Visit FergusonMoving.com and let them lift your expectations.
All right, time for takeaways, brought to you by Martin Motorsports, your one-stop marine and recreation shop. Got a text from Chris at Martin Motorsports tonight. Was watching the game. He was a little concerned, like many of the Oiler fans on the stream right now. Martin Motorsports shares your concerns after night one, Oiler fans. October 13th and 14th is the sled show at the Edmonton Expo Center. So you can see the 2024 sled lineup, the Widescape stand-up snowmobile, and get the best deals on sledding gear and accessories. So go on down to shop current clearance styles, mono suits, jackets, bibs, gloves, boots, helmets, goggles, and more. Oh, winter's coming, and Martin Motorsports has you covered. Visit martinmotorsports.ca for more. That is October 13th and 14th, the sled show at the Edmonton Expo Center. Strud's appearance on the podcast, telephone and all, brought to you by Kin Print. High quality apparel, promotional products to take your brand to the next level. Visit kinprint.ca. Maybe they'll do some Kin Print labeled headphones and microphones that we can put in place. Would make some sense. We need quality. Okay, Struds, we got to focus on what comes next, right? We just beat it to death, the performance, and deservedly so, but they do need to pick themselves up. So what happens on the plane ride tonight? What's the mood? And then what are the steps you take tomorrow morning from a player standpoint?
Well, you're very embarrassed and you're pissed off the whole way. Like there should be no joy anywhere on the bus ride, the plane ride, or the car ride home. Then you're going to get back on, wake up tomorrow morning, realize that you embarrassed yourselves the previous night, and that you have to be better. So how do you get better? Well, I'm sure Jay will have a few clips he's going to show, but the guys know that this isn't a group of 20-year-olds. Right? This isn't a young group of players. They know that they have to find another level. And so you come back and you practice like that, you think like that, you get yourself motivated and going, not that they weren't motivated, but get yourself organized and prepared to play like you need to play Saturday night. And it's brutal they have to wait that long. This is a sick feeling that you have waiting for this. But make no mistake about these practices, I would have a lot of compete drills in these practices if I was Jay Woodcroft.
Yeah, a couple of days between games, I think, gives you the luxury of, I think we're past the days of the brutal bag skates and burning everybody's legs and that, but I think it just becomes about trying to extract the compete level from them in practice that they failed to provide during the game. And I think it's okay to send that message. Overreacting, I don't think is necessary either, right? I think you to a certain degree, I think it's probably smart to see what the group does in its next game, allow them the chance to auto-correct. I would not consider some sort of shakeup. I wouldn't touch my top two lines. I wouldn't muck around with my pairings. Their hope is they'll get Ekholm back, and you cannot get that guy back in the lineup fast enough. But Struddy, and we'll talk about Holloway in a minute and options, but my instinct is no major shakeup in the top two lines or the top two pairings, and steady as she goes, re-rack it, and let them fix this. What do you think? Is that an underreaction?
No, I think that's very fair. Let's first start with the coach's reaction. There's only so many times during a year, and even a coach's time with the team, that you can really let the guys have it, right? Where you can just explode. I don't think you need to use that after game one, right? I think you can say, guys, we know that wasn't good enough, and kind of go through a calm but stern talk about what was happening, because the guys know. They know. So now you're looking ahead and you're saying, guys, we're going to keep this. Everything's going to be the same. We're going to start maybe a different goalie, but everyone's going to stay the same, because we're going to wipe this slate clean, and we're all better than we showed tonight. We're all better than it. And they know it. The guys know it. They know where they're at. So I really think that any kind of major change would just look like panic. And as the leader of this group, Jay doesn't need to show panic after 60 minutes of play.
I agree. Jay Woodcroft asked by Mark Spector, who was in Vancouver, if this can be somewhat of a learning moment, kind of a coach's tool when you have a game go this bad.
Can a game like this be a good coaching tool?
We'll see. Yeah, we'll see. You know what? In the end, like I said, there's a lot of things wrong with what we just saw out there. You saw it. Our players saw it. The coaches saw it. Our manager saw it. Not good enough. Not good enough. And we have better. We know it. We laid an egg get a chance to work at our game and get another crack at this team on Saturday.
And what now for Connor McDavid?
To drive some points home from a night like
Well,
this?
like I said,
Drive themselves home.
Yeah, like I said, I mean, we obviously want to learn from it. We want to, see where things went wrong and learn from it, like I said, and get ready to go again. We play Saturday. Excited to play at home. Excited to play these guys again. Another opportunity to redeem ourselves.
Generally speaking, the Oilers are usually pretty good in their opening game of their season. They have been under McDavid anyways. There was a comeback here against the Canucks. So uncharacteristic this season opener for them. Struds, let's talk about options if Dylan Holloway is not around. Adam Ernie is still in town, still on the PTO. There might have been a Rich Winter sighting in and around the rink the other day as well. So I would assume there's been communication between him and the team. Bit of a wait and see scenario, right? Were you going to lose Lavoie on waivers? Wait and see. Are there going to be any injuries? Wait and see. Left winger potentially just got hurt, and that could ring the opportunity bell for Ernie.
Oh, 100%. And I said it earlier. I just don't think he's hanging around because it's just out of goodwill, right? Like, I think there's got to be not a secret handshake deal, but I just feel he's got to have a sense that there's going to be something forthcoming for him as far as the contract. I just don't know why you stick around.
Well, because there's nowhere else to go, and so you're waiting for an injury. I mean, that would be why, right? If there was a contract somewhere else, but he'd be on a plane or a train or a Greyhound or something.
No, and I have a hard time believing he had turned down a contract from another team. But I think there had been a talk like, hey, is this heading towards a contract here? Like, is there a chance I'm getting a deal? I just can't believe he would be like just staying here out of goodwill to fill a jersey in practice because they're a player short. So Holly was playing really well, and it was only one game, but we liked what we saw in preseason, or I did, and I think most people did. Let's say there is some kind of an injury of 2, 4, 3, whatever it is, a couple of days of 2, whatever, they got to figure something else out. So the cap logistics would probably get a little shaky. I don't know exactly how that would work.
They could probably do it. So I'll just interrupt you quick. If Niemelainen is healthy and gets assigned, they can get a deal done with Ernie.
Right. Well, that's if he's back. But if he's not back, let's just assume there's space. I think you sign Adam Ernie, right? Unless you have somebody else you're really passionate about. He's a veteran and come in and play, but it creates a problem on that third line, right? So is it Janmark that goes up there? Probably. And then Ernie and Ryan are your extra guys. But it's not the same without Holloway there, right? And I can't believe we're saying that after one game, but I think that he showed quite a bit today. I thought he showed quite a bit, and I wanted to see more from him moving forward.
Yeah, and listen, I see a lot of some of Raphael Lavoie's name here on the stream. I can guarantee you that if the head coach has a vote, the way to a better performance next game is not replacing Holloway with a guy playing his first NHL game. So I think if you're the head coach, you want a veteran, a guy who's been around the league and understands it in Adam Ernie to put in and give some minutes to. There will be a time and a place for Raphael Lavoie to get his shot. I'm not sure that it's on Saturday after this performance. Now, the cap might indicate differently. They may not have that choice, but given the choice, I think they would probably defer. You going to Skinner? I think we said before, I would go to Stuart Skinner, just give him the start and see if he can get a better result there. Again, I'm not going to blame either of the goaltenders in this situation, but what do you think?
Yeah, no, I'm going back. I'm going with Skinner. And again, it's not because I think Campbell played bad. I'll just stick to what I believed. I'd said Skinner Campbell. Instead, it's going to be Campbell Skinner. And that's not a hill I'm willing to die on, as far as was it the right or wrong call. But I think you put Skinner in the pipes on Saturday and say, buddy, go and have a good game, right? And then hopefully that does happen. And the team in front of them, I don't see this so much as a learning opportunity for the older skaters. I see it as an option or an opportunity that grabs their attention, because I'm not sure that there's attention after watching this game was 100% focused on what they needed to do. You can get here as you want. You can have a good training camp, but the pace just wasn't there. So I think it grabs their attention. I think in some ways we might be looking back in a month and saying probably the best thing could happen was a real ass-kicking day one.
Real good slap across the face. Some people agreeing with you on the stream. that the Oilers are perhaps reading their own press clippings. Neil Garrity says Ernie looks like a fourth liner with experience. I think he's the best option we have right now. Hey, Steve, I noticed a bunch of like little happy faces and hearts and stuff floating up the screen there on the chat. What is that? What's happening there?
I haven't seen that before. I think it's a new feature. So people are clicking the heart down there, and it's great.
So when I see hearts, that means people like what we're saying.
Yeah.
Is there a way for them to indicate that they don't like? Like, is there a middle finger emoji or something that'll go floating up? Or
Let me see what I can find.
is that good for the podcast when those things are happening? I'm new to this. I'm new to this live streaming thing.
There's 5 things. There's the 100%, like they agree.
Okay.
There's the sort of shocked face.
Oh, I
There's
see some
the-
shocked faces. Okay.
Yeah, there's the celebrate emoji.
Right.
Big smiley face. It looks like someone's laughing. And then, the heart.
Is it good for our algorithm if people are doing that? Go ahead and keep doing it, people.
It can't be bad because it looks really cool.
All right, sounds good. Looks like I think DC is the one going crazy on it, but yes, thank you. Pound on that love button. Pound on that. There's a soundbite for you.
What? Oh boy.
Oh man, I'm blushing. Oh, I'm blushing. Okay, that was the takeaways brought to you by Martin Motorsports. Still lots to come on the podcast, including Strudwick's World next, and we are going to get to the stream where the hearts and the smiley faces and the surprise, lots of surprise faces. Now that I've said that, are flowing. Lots still to come on the podcast. Very short break, and we'll keep trucking along as long as our crap keeps working. Okay, heroes, are you trying to tough it out through a sports or life injury right now? Trying to prove your mettle by grinding through, gritting your teeth? Well, Redefined Health is here to say it's time to come on in. At Redefined Health, they'll high-five you for your toughness and then get to work on helping you fix the problem. Helping athletes and heroes find better balance, performance, and injury prevention. Visit redefinedhealth.com. Long Shots Golf is the destination for both golf enthusiasts and sports fans. Top-of-the-line TrackMan simulators provide a highly entertaining and accurate golf experience, while a full-service sports bar loaded with big screens and scratch kitchen make it a truly unique destination. They have locations in Sherwood Park and Edmonton. Experience the best indoor golf and sports bar in town. Visit longshots.ca. That's longshots with a Z.ca.
When you make a mistake, heads should roll. Just me and Nick Lachey, window down, shirt off, just loving it. My goal is someday maybe be Forrest Gump. Now that I say it out loud, it does sound a little crazy.
Ah, yes, 'tis time for Strudwick's World, cell phone edition, brought to you by Pathfind. If you own or operate a business, you know the value of a great employee. Ones who show up at work on time with their equipment working. Pathfind is here to help you find your next star player to take your business to the next level. They can help with recruitment, career transition, leadership coaching. They truly have your whole team covered for your organization's path forward. Check out pathfind.ca, a great local company that we are proud to be partnered with here on the podcast. Struds, what's on your mind tonight?
It's a relationship between Bouchard and Nurse. You know, I saw a lot of comments. I was getting texts a lot about it saying, you know, is it time to move away from Nurse and Bouchard after 30 minutes or 60 minutes, which to me seems a little bit quick to go. I would really like to see this partnership work out. I think there's an opportunity for it to work out. I think it would help kind of set up the rest of the group. But you know, when I watched the game today, it looked like they weren't connected. And you know, we talked a little bit about the one where Bouchard goes behind the net and kind of gets pushed off the puck. You know, I don't love it, but it's going to happen. But the connected part I saw between Nurse and Bouchard that was difficult was on D-to-D passes behind the net. There was two different situations, specifically in the first period, where Nurse, I believe, was trying to go D-to-D to Bouchard, and Bouchard just stepped off the wall behind his net and let the puck ring around him. You know, it's pretty rare to have that type of play happen because it wasn't like it was a missile that he passed around. I think it was one that he could have picked up. If it was, I apologize, but it just seemed like they were on a different page, and that takes time. So for Oilers fans, I know it's frustrating. You have these two guys that you have high expectations for, especially when you look at the contract for now. Well, one of them, and the other one is probably going to get in a couple of years. But you can't just fold the tents after 60 minutes. Give them a chance to work it out. I would like to see the coaches sit down with these two guys and show them a couple of these clips and say, hey, look, this is what we saw here. This is what happened here. Can they both be better? Sure. But the whole team can be better. Everyone can be better. I think we'll leave the goalies on the side. But for Bouchard and Nurse, they need a little bit of time together with real competition, not 50% AHL teams like they mostly saw through preseason. Shocker.
Yeah, I think it's a good point. You're preaching patience, and that's not something that comes easily to Oilers fans after an 8-1 loss, for sure, and understandably so. What I'd say is that they don't really have much of a choice right now. I mean, I guess you could go back to Nurse and Ceci if you wanted. You can go Kulak and Bouchard if you wanted. Where I think this experiment is really going to truly be tested, because it hasn't been yet. It's going to be tested when Matthias Ekholm is available again. And you got that old fallback pairing of Ekholm and Bouchard. So good. Ekholm so steadying. Bouchard, best hockey of his life, was skating next to Matthias Ekholm. Team was fantastic. He was fantastic. Point production was amazing. Looked steady in his own end. Was a new player the second that guy arrived. Bouchard gets a lot of credit for that, but so too does Ekholm. And I believe that Nurse and Bouchard together is going to be bumpy, because both of them at times need a stabilizing force out there with them. And I don't think either of them are a guarantee to be that for one another night in, night out. So this is going to take some patience. And with that option sitting right there through the struggles, I do not predict this coaching staff will have the patience to stick to this experiment for very long. And I'm not saying they're going to be wrong, but once Ekholm is back, Struddy, that's going to be pretty tempting if things are rough, even anywhere near what they were tonight.
Well, your point's all made. I think the other part is that how is everybody else playing around them, right? So how is Ceci playing? How is DNA playing? How is Broberg playing with or without Ekholm? If that comes to pass again, like there's lots of things that are being worked up. They're trying to find a top four defenseman. That's what they're trying to find. They're hoping to find it internally. I'm not sold that he's there right now. Now he could maybe grow into it. Was he going to grow into it in 6 months? I'm not sure. Broberg tonight, again, it's hard to evaluate a player that played. I think, did he play even 12, 13 minutes?
Well, let me
was
check.
He 16?
Here.
Okay, so he played.
I got it right here, yeah. Philip Broberg,
I might be wrong.
16:03.
Okay. I thought he skated the puck pretty well a couple times kind of got pushed off. But again, I don't want to get really bogged down on a young player and a game that's an absolute thrashing, because no one shines. So, but I think that it's not that the Bouchard Nurse conversation isn't exclusive to those two guys. Even if they play amazing together, there could be a lot of things going on outside of it that they have to mix it up. Or if they're struggling, who knows? So, both guys can be better individually, but I think collectively, there's a couple of things they can do to make their game easier and smoother for everyone around them, including themselves.
Yeah, everybody needs to be a lot better. And this was one of those nights where Evan Bouchard really struggled, and it stood out. It cost him on the scoreboard. His mistakes were really noticeable. He had a lot of really strong nights towards the end of last season, and he's going to be way better than this. But unfortunately for him, he was one of the ones that stood out on a night where I know they want everybody to take an equal share of the blame, but certainly it was noticeable. Evan Bouchard will figure it out. Just be interesting to see who ends up being next to him. That was Struddy's World, brought to you by Path Fine. Okay, the stream is on fire tonight. The hearts are flowing. The chirps are flowing. Got your back midnight ecstasy extravaganza, says Jeff Domer. I think that is in reference to the comment that I accidentally made a couple of minutes ago. We are definitely got your back after dark right now, as it's 12:18 a.m. Mountain Time. Match Eatery in Public House is going to be the sponsor of our Ask Us Anything segment. If you're a fan of chicken wings, hop on over to Match Pub Ice District and tackle their 5 amped plates of wings featuring flavors such as, what's the dealio? I like that. Spicy mango tango, and Nashville Hot. These are not your average wings. Match is located just next to Rogers Place in Granville Casino. For more information, visit matchpub.com. Steve, bring yourself in, bud. There you are. Yeah, lots going on, man. Some people are panicking. Some people are preaching caution. Some people are measured. Some people have lost it. Take us through it, man. Let's rip through a whole bunch of these.
Yeah, a lot of people just trying to find the humor in everything that happened tonight. A lot of comments about Ekholm and whether his value was, whether he's more valuable than we thought he might have been. So Growler Media Group Incorporated, our buddy Zuby, he just can't stay away. He says,
go to bed. You're not doing the show tonight because you said you needed to get some sleep, and now you're in here chirping on the screen.
Well, he's probably doing it from bed. That's the only thing.
Goodness sake.
So he says, it's still just one game. Hopefully a good lesson. Flush it and move forward. Too much talent on this team. Getting Ekholm back soon seems like it'll be pretty important.
Zuby said all that.
He said all that?
He said all that. All right. He wants his own show.
Do you think that a game like that would rush someone like Ekholm back into the lineup, perhaps sooner than he's comfortable, or sooner than he would be normally?
They'll play it safe, Struds. Like, there's no reason to be goofy about this, I would say.
Yeah, you can't. You've got it. You need this guy, for the whole year. There's much of the year he's healthy, but to rush him back as a knee-jerk reaction to just an absolute mess of a game, I think would be short-sighted. I think they want to make sure when he's 100%, he comes back, because you want that healed, because you don't want it flaring up every couple months and then flaring up again, because they can. Those little muscles, they're very frustrating, whether it's a groin or hip flexor or back, whatever it is. If you don't let it heal properly and 100% get over it, it can become a lingering problem, and that's what they don't want. They want this guy when he comes in, he's good to go.
Spade says, I just hope Campbell doesn't start blaming himself already. Not his fault. Jack Campbell spent a lot of time in the offseason getting his game and his head in order. He'll bounce back just fine from this. You don't put in all that work, have one bad game, and then have it all go to crap. Is it ideal? No. Is he in jeopardy of suddenly just becoming the same goaltender he was last season? I don't think that's the case either, Struddy. It'll be built in. He'll be prepared for this.
I thought his body language was pretty good. Honestly, I thought it was pretty healthy. To me, he didn't look like a guy who was beat or beaten down, right? I thought he looked pretty positive. He skated out even before the goalie Skinner got there. I thought he skated out pretty hard. I liked it. I liked his game. I liked his response to the game he had. And I don't think I think it'd be really, really quick if that changed on him that quickly.
Jerry Mancini says, I think the biggest mistake was the optional skate this morning. Whoever decided that was out to lunch.
A lot of them are optional now, right? A lot of them are optional. You can't get too much in that. I mean, a lot of players like to skate. Some don't like to skate, right? Whatever you need. I mean, did the whole team decide they're just going to lay an egg tonight because they didn't skate, or only 5 of them skate, or whatever? I just don't. I don't know. I have a hard time envisioning that being a problem with this group.
Agreed.
Boba Fett says the D had trouble making passes D to D and turned the puck over continually in their own zone.
Yeah, you talked about that earlier. Yeah, they weren't smooth at all, right?
Van. No, I think, Van had a really good day. Vancouver looked way faster than I thought they looked last year. Now, I don't know that they changed a lot of their players. Maybe it's systematic, the way they got in there. So I think they're moving way better and getting in on the Oilers and making it hard for them. But, I talked a little bit about that, those exchanges between Nurse and Bouchard and others. It's just got to be on the tape. So if you pass a slow pass to your partner on a D to D, or it's in his feet, it doesn't allow him to get that puck and now move it to somebody else quickly. And when you don't move it quickly, now someone else is on you and they can take the puck away from you. So everything's got to be hard, clear, and clean passes to try to get that puck going out as quick as they could. And they were none of those things. Weren't really anywhere on the ice, but definitely the D were under pressure and having a tough time.
I was not D-friendly in my note-taking here, Struds. I'll kind of show you the system. I actually take notes on the iPad during the game. And so I mark little things here and there after goals and mistakes and such. So you'll get a kick out of this. You'll think I'm just a forward pounding on the D-men here. The 1-0 goal, Garland. I've got 27 fishing for a pass. So that would be Brett Kulak. The 2-0 goal, Boeser. 2 loses the corner battle. I don't think you can argue that one. No question. 3-0, Boeser. Rebound, CC caught watching, not taking his man. So I had a D-man there. 4-0 was off the leg, whatever. 5-1, screen point shot. 6-1, lucky bounce. 7-1, shot from out distance. And then the 8-1 goal, Bouchard on a 2-on-1, where he faded over to take the pass away and then didn't tie up a stick or a man and just let a guy go. Yeah. So I got 4 there that I'm pointing straight at D-men going primary mistake.
Yeah. Typical forward. But I think the one also in top, I think it was Boeser's 7th or his 4th goal.
Yeah.
Where Broberg and Bouchard covered the same guy and left Boeser open by himself, right? So, to be fair to the D, oftentimes when the forwards aren't doing what they need to do, it does kind of fall back on you, and then all the pressure is put on you, right? So I'm not saying that they're not accepting or shouldn't accept their part of the blame. They should wear it, but there's a much better brand of hockey than we saw out of those guys. On a bright note, Vinny and Dernier, pretty good fight. 2 big guys going at it. I like that. I thought that was a good time to make that happen for Vinny.
Yep. Not going to complain about that. A couple more here, Steve.
Yeah, Boba Fett said Vancouver's fast and tenacious on the forecheck. The Oil D was overwhelmed. Slow thinking and continual turnovers. I've heard all that before. K. Waddy says Vegas showed the league the formula to beat us. Everyone's going to use it like today.
Yeah, I wonder, Struddy, like trying to figure out the formula for McDavid and Draisaitl, right? What's the right way to play against them? I think having a combination of mobile and big defensemen definitely helps. We know Vegas had that. Not everybody can just magically conjure that up. But nobody's sleeping on the Oilers. Nobody has been for a really long time here. And there has been a formula laid down that has been shown to be able to handle this team. And I think Vancouver did a pretty good job of that tonight.
Well, I really think when you have a hard forecheck, I think it keeps the Oilers off balance and they're not able to get out of their end as easily, right? But that's true of any team. Like, it's not just against the Oilers. That's anytime you have a hard forecheck that works, it makes it harder for the other team to get out of their zone. But, you know, I like I said, I saw Leon, he had a lot of those cross-ice neutral zone passes. And then, you know, sometimes they connect, but to me, it tells you you're not attacking up the ice as quick. And let's get up the ice quick, move it up or carry it yourself, drive that puck wide and play that half zone offense that I think really works and kind of grinds down the other team and now puts pressure on their D rather than them kind of standing up you up at the blue line because a diagonal cross-ice pass through the neutral zone.
All right. That was Ask Us Anything, brought to you by Match Eatery and Public House. All we got left, Struddy, is the gem of the day, brought to you by United Sport and Cycle. They have expert advice for every sport. That's because their store, it's full of passionate sports fans. Go check it out. Strike up a conversation with one of them. They'll just talk your ear off because they love it. Volunteers, coaches, athletes, ready to help you with everything you need for the sport you love. Check out why they're Edmonton's favorite location for everything sports. Visit www.unitedsports.ca. This is not the gem of the day, but it is worth revisiting again. Jay Woodcroft on what the hell happened.
Bottom line is we were at a preseason level of work ethic and a preseason level of execution, all of us. And we got a lesson in regular season work ethic and regular season battle level. And
there you go. We got a lesson in regular season work ethic and regular season battle level. Some good honesty there from Jay Woodcroft. Not the gem of the day, I'm guessing, though. Struds, what do you have?
I'm staying with Jay, though. I've got to go up to the comment that he made about Dylan Holloway. It irks me. When he talked about Dylan Holloway, you know, he loved his energy and sacrificing the body and quote unquote a positive play. I can't let that one go. I understand what he's trying to say and he likes to see it from a guy, but in the 7-1, I think it was at that point, there's no need to be putting your hand out to block a shot. Stay lined up with it, kids. Let it hit you where the equipment is, not with your bare hand.
I thought for sure me saying the words, keep on smashing that love button would be the gem of the day. I thought
pound
for
that
sure.
love button.
Well, did I say pound?
Yeah, pound. I'm too classy. Too classy to bring that up.
Yeah, we would never bring that up. But yeah, pound that love button, folks.
It's after midnight.
That's a tough one.
Got you back after dark. Well, listen, people were patient, hanging in, and they were patient with us in your audio, Struds. I know it was frustrating for you, but nice job under tough circumstances. Thanks for your contributions on the stream. By the way, if you're listening on podcast form and you want to play along with our live stream, all you got to do is check us out on YouTube. Go to Got Your Back on YouTube and then subscribe to the channel and click the little bell. And that little bell will mean you'll get an indication every time we're about to start a live stream. And then you can hop in and get in on all of the mayhem as we are doing it live. Thanks to all of our sponsors. And we will be back. Oilers in action again. Oilers and Elks in action on Saturday. So I'm not sure if we're dropping another pod between now and then. But keep an eye on our socials and we'll let you know. 8-1 in the season opener. Oilers flat on their faces after one game, but it is just one game. And there's lots of story to be told yet, lots of podcasts to be done. We'll see you on our next one.